Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of Tales from the Fandom. I'm your host, David, and today I have a returning guest for the month of April. I'm so excited to have her back with me because Twitter likes to hide her messages and doesn't let me see what she's talking about a lot of the time, and it makes me sad. So I have Courtney. Courtney is back. You may have seen her episode about a year and a half ago at this point. But now we're here to catch up again. How are you doing, Courtney?
I'm doing good. I'm hanging in there. What about you?
I am doing well. I'm excited to have you back. I know we've actually been talking about doing this since late 2020, I think, and now here we are in catching up time.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be back because I love the podcast so much.
Oh, well, thank you. Now, you and I have communicated. We communicate a lot on Twitter. Whenever Twitter decides to show your messages to me, there's a lot of GIF usage that goes back and forth sometimes, and it always brightens my day when we're like, let's just do random GIFs of stuff back and forth.
Yeah, I love using GIFs and memes. They're like my favorite thing.
It is the communication of the 21st century, the modern day hieroglyphics.
Sometimes they just convey things that words can't, I feel like.
I always am like, I haven't seen Courtney's messages in a while. Let me see what she's posting about. Oh, it's just a stream of consciousness about Taylor Swift. Okay. Let's go.
That really does sum up my Twitter account for the most part, I feel like, especially recently.
Oh my goodness. Well, we are what is it? Let's see here. We are recording this in February, but your episode's actually going to come out in the first week of April. So just people that are listening understand that. Bear with us. That's just how this podcast works. But you got through 2020, as did I. We survived, which is good.
Thank goodness. Yeah, it was rough, but we made it.
We made it. One of the things we had talked about a fandom last time you were here, and now we're back here again. We're going to talk about it again. We're just going to jump into it right off, which is Marvel. And
Yes.
we were joking before I hit the magical record button. We were joking that 2020 was the year of like phase 4 of Marvel. Like we were supposed to have Black Widow. We were supposed to have the Eternal movie. We were supposed to have Shang-Chi. We were supposed to have WandaVision. We were supposed to have Falcon and Winter Soldier. We were supposed to have, I think there's supposed to be another show like at the tail end because that should have been Falcon Winter Soldier was like supposed to be like midsummer, I
It
think.
was gonna be Loki, and it's the one I was most excited for.
And and with what happened and everything that happened in 2020, it's just like wipe the slate clean to the point of as we're recording now, WandaVision I think is halfway through or a little bit over at this point, a little bit over a halfway. So by the time this episode comes out, the show should be over, and we'll be into Falcon and Winter Soldier because that comes out in March. But
Yeah, that sounds about right.
it's definitely like a year went by without anything Marvel, and
It was
it was
awful.
weird.
It was awful. I felt so deprived, and it really sucked too because it got to the point where I, like, didn't even really wanna watch Marvel stuff because I was like, "This is just reminding me of all the stuff that was supposed to come out that we don't have."
Right, and it was almost the I guess the one thing that I had been concerned about with the lead up to 2020 and all those all the show announcements and the movies and everything was that I felt like there's going to be too much, right? I was going to be like, oh gosh, there's going to be too much, and what if I don't watch WandaVision? Will I understand what's going on in the movie? Or if I watch the movie but I don't watch the TV, like it felt like you're going to have to just be constantly on top, and then to get a year of nothing, it was very strange.
Yeah, for sure, and it was just like I mean, like everything else in 2020, just the uncertainty, like not knowing, like, are we gonna get Marvel stuff this year? And in the scheme of everything else, like wondering if we're gonna get Marvel stuff is kind of dumb. But like, I feel like in 2020, it was important to have the things that made you happy. You needed the cheering up, and so
Mhm.
it really sucked to not have a thing that made me happy in 2020, which was Marvel content. Because we really, other than a trailer or 2, we got absolutely nothing, and as the year wore on and realizing that we weren't gonna get anything, I was like, "Well, just add this to the list of things that sucks about 2020."
Yeah, and on top of that, Chadwick Boseman passed in August of 2020, and it made the Marvel fandom, especially the cinematic universe and the TV shows that are going to be tied to that, it just made it just be like, oh my gosh, like what is going to happen now? Like where
Yeah.
are we even?
Yeah, and I think just his passing on top of not getting anything, that was such a shock, him passing away, and he was such a force, not even just in the MCU, but in the whole cinematic I guess not cinematic world, but he was just such a great actor and had so many great works, just yeah, it was a rough year cinema-wise,
It
for
was.
sure.
I can't believe he did all of the movies and the show, like what he was in while being sick, and that was like that's a testament to like his fortitude and wanting to just put the stuff out there.
Yeah, he definitely left a huge legacy behind.
Absolutely. Well, we're in 2021 now, and WandaVision. By the time people listen to this, WandaVision will be over. We're what 5 episodes in at this point.
We
Uh,
are.
I think because number 6 comes out tomorrow, and I can't remember if it's like 8 episodes or 10 episodes for the whole series. Just out of curiosity, and I know this is going to be old news to a lot of people when they listen to it. What are your thoughts on WandaVision so far?
I love it. I love it a lot more than I thought I would. I love Wanda as a character, but I wasn't sure quite what a TV show for her would mean. Not that I didn't think it wouldn't be good, but I was just kind of like, like I don't know how I feel about her getting one. And when the first teaser for hers dropped, though, was when I started getting excited because I realized the twins were going to be in it,
Hmm.
and I was like, oh, okay, like, we're doing this. We're getting into some crazy we're going the crazy route a little bit. We're setting up the Kid Avengers, like, we're going down that road. And that was when I started getting excited, but I didn't realize just how much I was gonna love just everything about it. And Elizabeth Olsen, oh my goodness, she is killing it every single episode. It's so great. I think it is one of the best things Marvel has ever done, hands down.
It's almost the same thing that I was concerned when they announced all these TV shows to begin with. I was like, man, you're going to have to watch the movies and the TV shows to stay up to date with what's going on. And that's a lot of media that they're wanting us to consume, right?
Mhm,
And I was kind of like intrigued, and I saw like all the promos and stuff for it. And it's like, okay. Um, I think what I love about it, and it's what I'm glad that Marvel is able to do now because they have so many things like wins under their belt, so to speak, is that they can experiment. They can
mm,
do whatever they want.
yeah.
The only real failures of movies have really been Incredible Hulk and like Thor 2, although some people like Thor 2 and I don't really get that.
Same.
But
I
but
don't
like,
like it either.
they've taken Guardians of the Galaxy, which when that was announced, everyone went crazy of I can't what Guardians? Are you serious? Like what are you even doing?
Mhm,
And then the Ant-Man movies again of not even like Hank Pym, but you got Scott Lang in there. And
mhm.
it's just you're not expecting what you're getting, but you're getting like these really good movies, and I'm glad that they're taking those risks and taking those chances. And here's the one thing that I love. I love that people have gotten into such a I need all the episodes now so I can binge them in like a day that they can't wait for like the next episode a week later, and they've forgotten how to watch TV.
Here's one thing that's killing me about watching people watch it is that, and this I think this is like a Marvel MCU thing, is that everyone is so used to connecting everything to the overall universe, is that I love reading Marvel theories. I've missed it so much. And so, I finished every episode and I'm like diving in. I'm like, all right, what do we think about this week's episode? How does it connect? But I feel like so many people, and maybe I'm just looking in the wrong places, people are so consumed with connecting the overall ideas that sometimes people are overlooking the things that connect episode to episode. And I want, like, the smaller things to connect, and I want us to act like we're watching a TV show and
Hmm.
connect things from episode to episode, and I feel like people are doing less of that and doing more of the, "Oh, like, how is this gonna connect to Doctor Strange? How does this connect to the end of the universe? What are we gonna find out at the end of the season?" And I'm like, "No, no, 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 guys. That's cool, and I agree with what you guys are saying about that, but let's dive deeper because they've put so much detail into this, and I feel like part of the reason it's so well done is because they can flesh everything out because they have more time, and it's
Yes.
really, really exciting to be able to sit with everything instead of it being just an hour and a half or 2 hours, and so it's low key driving me a little bit crazy that people aren't actually diving into some of the small details that they're putting in the episodes and that they're spending so much time, like, talking about House of M that, like, I'm pretty sure at this point, like, yes, guys, that's what they're doing. They just haven't revealed it yet. Let's stop talking about House of M and let's discuss, like, this detail here in episode 4 or this detail in episode 5. Like, it's just driving me a little crazy.
One of the things that I saw somebody had commented on was these episodes are so short. And
Yes.
I'm thinking to myself, if the episode is as long as it needs to be, you
Mhm.
don't need to make the episode 10 minutes longer if the 10 minutes isn't going to like add to what they're trying to do in that particular episode. And I dig that. Like I don't need my episodes to be any longer than they need to be. I don't need extra episodes. If they can tell their story in 10 episodes or 8 episodes and it equals out to like 3 hours. I mean, we're getting like a 3 hour or 4 hour show at this point.
Yes, like, I saw somebody say that too, and I was like, "Mm." Because also the thing is too is that they're, like, parodying, like, the sitcoms,
Hmm.
and sitcoms weren't that long, like, I don't know, I just feel like they're doing what they need to do, and they've thought everything through, and so people that are like, "I don't know, like, I wish it was longer here," I'm like, I feel what you're saying because we all want the content, but maybe not. Don't ruin the show.
Exactly. And it, I'd remembered when they had announced like certain people are going to be in the show, like Kat Dennings is going to reprise her role as Darcy,
Mhm.
and that Jimmy Woo was going to be in there. I was like, okay, that's real interesting. I wonder how that's going to work out. Perfection. Like
Yes.
I did not know how much I missed Darcy.
Yes, me either. Her and Jimmy Woo together and, Monica too.
Yes.
That trio is great, and they're doing so well with, I mean, we've only seen 2 episodes of them at this point when we're recording this, and they're just so well at playing those characters off of each other. I want more. I hope we see more in the remaining episodes.
I do too. The especially Darcy and Jimmy, but I'm really digging Monica. I'm digging all three of them. I know that there's been talk on Twitter about there's a writer that I follow, and he's actually going to like pitch a Jimmy Woo series to Disney or Marvel or whoever, like however the umbrella falls. Um, but I love the small stuff. Like you talked about the small stuff, and one of the things that I didn't catch is that when Jimmy was presenting his card, like he did the close up magic that Scott had done to him, and I was like, that like little things like little things that reflect on like the greater world that we live in this Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like those little things are the things that just make me like vibrate with excitement.
Yes, and it's the little things like that that they put in for the fans that are part of what make it, like, so great. It's the little attention to details is what makes the MCU. It's just so perfect.
With the MCU, again, we're recording in February. This episode is going to be in March. So by the time you everyone is listening, uh, hopefully we're having a good run on Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Woo!
Um, are you excited about that series?
I am excited about that one. I have to say I was more excited about it, um I was more excited about Falcon and the Winter Soldier than I was for WandaVision, but now that WandaVision's out, I'm like, "Man, like, how is Falcon and the Winter Soldier gonna be better than this?" Because I love WandaVision way more than I thought, but I have missed Sam and Bucky. I love Sam and Bucky. I'm so excited to see how they play off of each other. I'm so excited to see Sam come into his mantle of carrying on Captain America and becoming Captain America, I guess would be the way to say that.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm excited to see how they connect that series to everything else that's going on. I think it's gonna be really, really good, really, really fun.
Yeah, I am definitely excited. I love the action sequences that they had in the trailer, like especially like where the wings came forward and was protecting Sam like a shield. But
Yes.
then to actually see Sam throw the shield, but then Bucky catch the shield, I was like, that is something right there.
Yes, I can't wait. It's gonna be so good, and I love Steve Rogers. He is one of my favorite characters in the MCU, and, I was sad to see everything come to an end in Endgame, but I am just so pumped for Sam becoming Captain America. He That scene in Endgame where Steve gives Sam the shield, where he's like, where Sam's like, "I don't wanna live in a world without Captain America." And, like, Steve, like, gives him the shield, and he's like, "You don't have to, like, it's yours." I was like I tears every time I watch it. But, I mean, I just is Sam as Captain America is gonna be perfection. Anthony Mackie is gonna kill that role.
I'm also excited that Sharon Carter will be back in the series along with gosh, Rhodey is going to be there as War Machine.
Yes, I saw they were bringing Rhodey back. He deserves more recognition, so I'm excited for that, and she does too, because I felt like when they had her in the movies, she never really got to do much, other
Hmm.
than show up and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna kiss Steve," and then, like, peace out. Like, I felt like that's all she really got to do, and so I hope that she gets to do more in this series and that we see more, like, action sequences and cool agent stuff from her.
Absolutely. I'm ready. I'm ready for all the stuff that we're going to get. I'm ready to see what they are going to do for like the future because you know what like some of the shows or some of the things that I want to say like Disney, Marvel, Star Wars has done, like you never know what to expect. Like Mandalorian, and then they like turned around real quick to do a Mandalorian season two.
Mhm.
Like I can't imagine that they would do like a WandaVision season two. I feel like they're doing WandaVision because she's supposed to be in the Doctor Strange movie that's coming out.
Yeah, I think because Doctor Strange 2 is called the Multiverse of Madness, and they said that
Right.
WandaVision leads directly into it, and Doctor Strange 2 is also supposed to be like a horror movie, is how they said it was supposed to be pitched, and I'm excited to see how that goes and where that leads, because Wanda's supposed to be like a main character in it,
Hmm.
and so I don't imagine them doing a season 2 either, because I feel like this is like a Doctor Strange 2 prequel, but it just makes me that much more excited just because they just have the MCU so well thought out and everything's so connected.
That's right. Now I'm looking at the 2021 dates before we wrap up because I want to talk about some of the stuff that's here.
Mhm,
So we have WandaVision. We got Falcon and the Winter Soldier March 19th. So
mhm.
again, by the time this episode comes out, we'll be like 2 or 3 episodes into it.
Yeah.
Um, Loki is supposed to come out in May of 2021.
I'm so excited. I love Loki so much. I have missed him so much. That's probably the show I'm most excited for, just because I miss Loki and all of his chaotic ways. Like, I can't wait to see what he does.
So then I'm on the 2021 TV side. They have Hawkeye and Miss Marvel penciled in for 2021. Uh, I know that they're filming Hawkeye because I've seen the set pictures, and they finished casting Miss Marvel.
Mhm.
Uh, which is supposed to potentially tie into like a Captain Marvel 2 movie. And then we've got 4 movies on deck. We got Black Widow in May. Shang-Chi looks like it skipped ahead of Eternals, and that's going to be in July. Eternals is November, and then the Spider-Man number 3 is December, tentatively.
Woo! Spider-Man. That's my movie.
Which
You know, Spider-Man's my fave.
now I had heard with Spider-Man, like I'd heard that Spider-Man is supposed to also, like the rumor is anyway, like WandaVision, like Wanda is supposed to tie in somehow with Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. I don't know how, but
I've heard that too. And here's my thing about Spider-Man is that they're doing too much and I need them to calm down and just give my boy Peter Parker his movie. I I loved Homecoming and I think that Homecoming is a really, really good solo movie to kickstart like Peter like finding himself and finding how to use his power. And Far From Home is a good movie and I feel like it was necessary to kickstart the MCU after Endgame.
mhm.
And I was really excited after Far From Home because I was like, "Oh, like, the next movie is gonna be, like, Peter doing his thing again, like, he's" how spoilery can I get? It's been over a year, people have seen it. If you haven't seen it, skip this next part. He's he's gonna be, like, on the run, like, his identity's been given, like, it's gonna focus on Peter having to figure out what to do and, like, again, like, coming into his own in a way with his powers um, and himself, and I wanted it to focus more on him, and then just there have been so many rumors and things flying around about that movie. I'm honestly, I'm really nervous about it, if I'm being 100% real.
What you nervous about?
I don't know, I got nervous when they announced I'm blanking on his name. Is it Jamie Foxx that played Electro?
Yes, yes.
When they announced he was coming back as Electro, that was when I started getting nervous. Because I was like, "Why are they doing that?" If they're just doing that as a cool, like, "Oh, he's coming back" thing, that's fine, but with what happened at the end of episode 5 of WandaVision, I don't think they're just doing it as a cool he's coming back thing. But I trust Marvel. I think it'll be fine, but I just I feel like Peter continuously gets upstaged.
Mhm.
And I think he deserves to have his own movie, and I think that Marvel sometimes walks a very fine line between having solo movies and bringing too many people into those solo movies, and the perfect example is Captain America. Captain America: Winter Soldier is, like, the best Marvel movie, in my opinion and it has the perfect amount of ensemble cast in there. It's a really good story. But then you have Captain America Civil War, which is not a Captain America movie. It's an Avengers movie.
Right.
And Steve got like gypped out of having his complete trilogy. And I just don't want that to happen to my boy Peter.
Yeah. I mean, it is definitely something that is a concern with that. I never saw the movie that had Jamie Foxx as Electro. I think I missed that one. That's one of the Andrew Garfield ones, if I'm correct.
You are correct.
And I do enjoy seeing or hearing or reading that Tom Holland has come out and he's like, "Oh no, no, they're not in the movie. Tobey Maguire, no, 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 they're not."
I don't know if I believe him.
He's one of those Marvel actors that likes to just say stuff like
Yeah,
who
I know.
it's him and Ruffalo because
Yeah.
Ruffalo apparently like had spoiled things and and
Yeah,
because
before
it was
Infinity
him and Mackie during an interview I think and he had spoiled like the ending of not
Infinity
Endgame,
War.
Infinity War
Yeah,
and
he said,
you,
"Oh, wait till you see the next one. Everyone dies." And nobody believed him, and then after Infinity War came out, everyone was like, "Wait a minute, guys, watch this interview."
yeah you see Anthony Mackie like give him the look of like like come on.
Oh, goodness, that interview cracks me up.
All right. Before we finish Marvel, there's a lot of stuff coming out for Marvel. A lot of things have been announced, and even more. I'm sure stuff is, in the works.
Mhm.
And I like to play this game. So, Courtney,
Okay.
Marvel comes to you and says, we got a lot of stuff out. However, what would you want us to do next? Like, which character, which group, like, what do you want to see?
Oh,
Like, what do you want to see?
I have my answer and it's already in the works, but I'm not gonna change my answer. Young Avengers, no hesitation.
I thought so. Like that with the because they're with WandaVision, they're setting it up perfectly between having the twins and then we're going to have the Kamala Khan movie.
Mhm.
And I've heard again, lots of rumors is that um Patriot from Young Avengers is going to show up in either a show or a movie as like a mention or like a little micro like appearance or something.
Yeah, and they've recast Cassie Lang.
Yes, I saw that. I was
Mhm.
kind of disappointed that they had recast her,
Yeah,
but
I didn't know why they did that.
I don't know. I think it might be an age thing, just to line her up potentially with how the others are going to look. Because I can't remember. Is it Haley Steinfeld's playing Kate in
Mhm.
Hawkeye?
Yeah.
So I'm just wagering a guess that maybe they needed to like get something like more in line with the look. Like maybe they weren't ready to pull the trigger, but now they are.
Mhm.
But I'm excited to see what they do if and when they do a Young Avengers, and I'd love, I know that they did a Runaways TV show, which I never finished watching, and
Oh, the 3rd
I
season was the best one.
see and that's the one I didn't watch, but I need to watch it. But it's like they just did so many weird things at times. I was like, this isn't the Runaways that I read in my comic books, but at the same time, I got to understand that it's not my stuff anymore. It's for everybody.
Yeah, I understand that.
But we got a lot of stuff coming out on Marvel, and so far, Marvel's done pretty good. They've got a good record. I'm good with them. They haven't made any like super big missteps at this point.
Yeah,
But now let's talk about something else that you're like super into. Um,
okay.
Now, I don't know if people follow you, and if you're not following Courtney on Twitter, which is where Courtney and I found each other was on Twitter because I don't know if you have any other social media, but we found each other on Twitter.
We did. I don't even
And,
remember what it was.
I don't remember what it was either, but I'm probably like it's either like it's Marvel or Glee or something along those lines. I just happened to stumble across like somebody retweeting you. I don't know, but one of the things that you and I both love, and I think you love more than I do, and that's okay, is a certain person that shares my birthday 10 years later. So she's younger than me, but you love a girl named Taylor.
I do. I love her so much. I'm, like,
Unabashedly.
I'm smiling so much right now because I just love her. Taylor Swift, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not heard any of her songs, honestly stop the podcast right now and go stream all of her albums.
That's right.
Like
Go stream all her albums, but I want to make mention that she's really like started re-recording her old music so she can release it again, so that way she owns it and not like the evil people that have her like masters or however that works,
Do
because I'm
you
not a
know what
music
I
person.
realized before we started recording this? Was
What's that?
that last time we were recording, it was right when Taylor announced that she didn't own her masters.
Oh my
It was, like,
gosh.
the same day because I remember, mentioning you mentioned it, I think, in the podcast, and you were like, "Yeah, I didn't know until I saw your tweet," and now here we are full circle. We're recording this on the day that Taylor announced that she's releasing her first re-record Love Story tonight. It's like full circle moment.
Oh my gosh, that's great. That it it's something because I don't know if you saw that the match commercial, right? With the devil
Uh,
going out with
yes,
2020,
I did see
and
that.
like I'm hearing the music. I'm like, I know that music. I know it. I swear I do. And then it's announced like that's her like that's Taylor's re-recording of Love Story, I'm like, this is perfect. Like it just goes together.
Yeah. Ugh, I love that she's able to, like she has her own music now, like, she can have her music in commercials now if she wants it to because it's her decision when she records it, it's not owned by somebody else.
That's right. You love my birthday twin. Now I'm older, so like that's and you know that's okay. How did you? Because I don't think we actually talked about like your actual love of Taylor Swift, but like, were you always a Taylor Swift fan, or were you like, did you come in at like her second CD or her third CD, or where did this love of Taylor come from?
I honestly just always remember listening to her music. Um, I it's funny because I one of my best friends, we've been best friends since we were in 5th grade, and I can remember one time her coming to me, she had seen my little brother at the car line in elementary school, and she had asked him like, "Oh, like, how's Courtney?" And he was like, "All she ever does is sit around and listen to Our Song by Taylor Swift on repeat." And I'm, like, laughing because nothing has changed over a decade later, like, but I've just always listened to her stuff. I mean, when I was younger, like, I didn't do, like, the full albums because I, like, just didn't listen to music that way, like, my listening habits have changed and matured because I'm older, but I mean, I've always listened to her stuff, and just I remember with, like, the Speak Now album, my cousin bringing over her CD and us going through the lyric book and finding the secret messages in my backyard, like, I've just always been a fan. I didn't get super into the actual, like, fandom until I got on Twitter when I was in high school. Um, and now I, like, don't really completely claim the Swiftie fandom because fandoms can sometimes be crazy, so
Yeah, yes, they can. Yes. Now, with your love of Taylor, like again, you go to Courtney's Twitter, and probably, I would say, if you have 10 tweets, a good 5 of them would be like Taylor Swift related at any given time.
Yeah, that's probably true, and some sometimes I'll pull back, but Taylor has done so much within the past year. I mean, insane, like, we got 2 albums in 2020 that yeah, a lot of them have been about Taylor lately.
Now, what is up? Because those 2 albums released, and I don't like I don't buy CDs anymore, and I've never bought music on my computer. It's just not something I do.
Mhm.
So I've not listened to any of those songs because apparently they never put any on the radio either.
I don't listen to the radio anymore, so I can't answer that because I use Spotify is what I listen on.
Okay.
So, I don't know why
See,
they
like
didn't.
I only listen to the radio between the hours of like 6:50 and about 7:45 in the morning, and then that's it. And then if it's not on whatever I'm doing during the day, like I just don't have music consumption like I used to. But like I was shocked when she released 2 albums, and I was it's like, what is even going on here?
I honestly will never forget waking up July 24th or 23rd. She released on the 24th, so 23rd, July 23rd, waking up and seeing that she was releasing an album. And it was so funny because I think you might have been one of the people that was, like, literally, like, waiting on me to wake up and see, because there were people on Twitter. I remember one of my friends on Twitter literally tweeted me after I was, like, tweeting my reactions and being like, "What?" Literally tweeted me and was like, "I was waiting for you," like, to see what my reaction was. I just will never forget that. I don't know, I can't believe she released 2 albums, but I really do like that she's to a point where she feels comfortable just releasing music when she feels like she has it ready to release.
Right. I like that, and it's not just her, but it's like other artists are now to the point of we don't need to do the promotions. We don't need to like have just put the music out there and let it speak for itself essentially.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love music so much, it's probably my favorite thing in the world, and I listen to it all the time. Like, if I'm not watching something, I probably am listening to music. Like, I probably have earbuds in my ear listening to music. And so I don't care about, like, music charting or I prefer that artists don't make radio hits because I think radio hits can sometimes suck. And I'm not saying that to, like, dunk on pop music because I love pop music, but I think artists should make music that they like, and they shouldn't really make music that they care about charting because I think that good music comes from when you make it because you like it, not because you want it to do well. And so I really just like that. I mean, not just Taylor, but a lot of artists are getting to this point where it's like, I like this, I made it, I'm going to release it now, and I don't care about the promo leading up to it.
Mhm. Now, with Taylor Swift, so you got in when you were younger. You've always been a Taylor person, a Taylor Swift person. What's your favorite either album or song? Like what's the ones that really just get you that you're like, you know what, this is what you need.
Well, Folklore is my favorite album. That's the one that she released in July. But before that, it was 1989. And so those are my top 2 Taylor albums. She released 1989 my senior year of high school, and I still listen to that album all the time. It's just pop perfection. There's no other way to put it. And then Folklore just really she released it when I really needed it. I 2020 was rough, and I really just needed something to make me happy, I guess is the best way to put it, and I just really needed that album, and there were a lot of songs on there that just really resonated with me. Um, and so Folklore just means a lot to me. But my favorite Taylor Swift song ever is actually on Reputation, and it's Call It What You Want. And I just think it's a beautiful song. I love the production, I love the lyrics. Um, I just love it's basically about how like everything in her life came crashing down, but she had one person that was there and like call it whatever you want to, but like that one person was there and like helped make it better. And I just love just the idea of having that.
Mhm.
So that's my favorite song of hers.
Are you like Taylor Swift started like country, and then
Yes.
she went, she went country pop to like I don't know what you'd call like some of the stuff that she did like in like the later poppy years. Like some of it was like angry pop. Well, not well, maybe it's not
Like
angry
dance
pop, but just
pop, like EDM,
like
maybe.
very yeah, like electric pop or
Mhm.
like it had a certain edge to it, like a pop edge or
Mhm.
edge pop. I don't know. Um, I have not listened to like the last two. So like, where did she go from? Things like Bad Blood and like all like those kinds. Like, where does she go with Folklore and what's the other CD that she did?
Evermore.
Evermore. Like, where did she go there? Like, where is her musical path taken her?
I would say Folklore is more indie. Still kind I don't know if you can call Folklore pop because to me, it's so quiet and laid back, but I would say, like, indie alternative pop-ish still, because it's just such a chill, quiet album, but it still sounds like her, is the thing that
Hmm.
gets me, is that she's done all these different genres, but somehow it still sounds like Taylor Swift every time she releases something. Evermore is a little bit more experimentative than Folklore is. Like, there's a little bit more country on it. There's some songs that sound kinda like pop. To me, Evermore sounds like she pulled stuff off of all of her albums and stuck them on an album together with more mature lyrics, but it still works together as an album somehow. Um, so I don't know, it's kind of hard to put all of her s like, she's just such a versatile artist, which I think
Hmm.
is part of the reason that I love her stuff so much. She has something for every music mood I'm in. So I don't know, it's hard to say.
Okay. All right. We're going to talk about something else, but before we go and switch off of Taylor, like there are lots of artists out there, and you see them, you know that they're still around, like the Rolling Stones, and people
Mhm.
still listen to like Paul McCartney, all these people. Do you think, you know, like I'm 40 now, so maybe in like 20 years, 30 years, are we still going to be having Taylor Swift music?
I hope so, but if we don't, like, I would respect that. Like, I feel like I'm such a big fan of her as a person, even outside of the artist, that if she ever got to the point where she was like, I'm not going to make music anymore, which I don't know if she would do that because it seems like she just likes making music so much. But if she ever decided that she didn't want to make music anymore, I mean, I would be very upset. I would probably have a really hard time with it. But I respect her enough as a person and I respect her privacy enough that I feel like I would respect that decision, but I would still, like, listen to all of her albums on repeat. So
Okay. I got that. I got that. So let's see. We talked about Marvel. We talked about Taylor Swift. One of the things that you had mentioned before we got started, because you gave me a whole list of things to talk about. Um, and we can't cover everything, which just means you're going to have to come back again at some point in the future, and then you'll have even more to talk about, and we'll just keep building this list up, and that's
Yes.
totally fine. Um, I had mentioned to you that my wife and I, we watched the Hunger Games series with the kids over probably like the past 6 months, because I get to choose a movie every 5 weeks, because
Mhm.
that's how Friday night family movie night works, is each of us gets to rotate and pick a movie. So once every 5 weeks is my turn. So therefore, I think it took like 20 weeks to go through all four of the movies at some point. Um, we watched Hunger Games. The kids liked it. We did recommend, like, hey, if you like the movies, you guys should really read the books, because their books are a lot better than the movies. And no, nobody's taken us up on that offer yet.
Aw.
But you said that Hunger Games is one of like your OG fandoms.
It probably is the OG fandom. I actually I had to read the book, The Hunger Games, for summer reading in high school, my freshman year, which is really funny that it became a fandom from school assignment. Um, and it was funny because I just had the first Hunger Games book for that assignment, and I read it, and then as soon as I finished the first book, I immediately ordered the second and third one, and it was like torture waiting for the books to get to my house. I just remember waiting and waiting and wishing they would get there, and there was, like, no looking back at that point after I had gotten the books in. I'm still obsessed to this day with that series. I reread the books back in 2020, sitting around the house in lockdown. But I just still love them so much. Katniss and Peter are still two of my favorite characters of all time. They're probably my favorite ship, my OTP. I just love everything about it. I Catching Fire is probably my favorite movie. I think it's just so well done. I could sit here and go on and on about everything I love about it for days.
Okay, so you had to read it during summer reading. That's a pretty big book to not I mean, not big book to read, because you're a freshman in high school, but it's definitely got some themes that are at some points where, like, I'm sure now, the you're older now, and watching news at sometimes it's like, oh gosh, like, we're gonna start the Hunger Games? Is that what's gonna happen now?
Yeah, I think honestly, part of the reason it's my favorite series and it stayed my favorite series is because, the more I read it and even the older I get, the more I recognize more of the themes that are in there. Like when I was younger, I was like, wow, like this is a really cool dystopian series. Like I really like this character. I really like Peeta and Katniss as a couple. But as I got older and I was more aware of stuff going on in the world and I started getting my own political opinions, I was like, wow, like this is a really good social commentary on stuff. And that's part of the reason I think The Hunger Games holds up so well as a series.
Absolutely. Now you reside in South Carolina, right? Like, you're still up there.
Yeah, good old South Carolina.
Now South Carolina, that would be what? That's not District 12, is it?
I think it is if you use the map that Lionsgate released.
I never know. There's so many maps floating around. It's like I don't know which it
A
is.
wrong map goes around about once every few months, but there's only one right map, and it's the one that Lionsgate officially released.
Here, I'm gonna find out. Pan Am Lions Gate map. Because okay, what does Pan Am look like? This official map.
It doesn't have
Wh
Florida if it's the right map.
it doesn't have, well,
Florida
that
fell into the ocean.
that's fitting, okay? Like, okay, there it is. Yes, there is no Florida. Not shocked. So it looks like, oh, I don't know, man.
I
South
think
Carolina
I think we're
might
on
be
the
District 8 or District 11, but you're missing some coastline too. So
yeah. See,
don't get all
actually,
high and mighty on Florida
I'm
here.
not, like, on the coast, but I am, like, within an hour or 2 of the coast, and so me being in a district is actually kind of iffy because I might actually be in the ocean.
You might be in District 13, Atlantis.
I was about to say, "Oh, I'd be fine in being in 13." But then you finished your sentence.
Or wait, District 13. Wait a
Yeah,
second.
I was like,
Di-
13 is
I need,
real.
I need, yeah, I need to go to District 14. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. They only have 12 districts on the map.
Yeah.
Golly,
Reread the books. It looks like you need to reread the books.
and I just watched the movies too. Now, so you might be somewhere, you might not be. You might be just chilling on the ocean. I what one of the things that it always gets me, especially like with like how dystopian movies work, right? Like let's say Pan Am is real, right?
Mhm.
But nothing else has changed in the world. Just like people are like looking over and being like, you guys used to be America, and now you're Pan Am. We're just gonna like keep you over there. Like you do your thing, and we'll just keep having like real world stuff going on.
I feel like they really do that a lot in dystopian novels. Like, they don't, like, account for the rest of the world.
Well, it's like Handmaid's Tale on Hulu and in the books where everyone's looking at this place and they're like, you used to be America, now you're like really wackadoodle. We're gonna keep doing like our normal trade stuff and helping people out, but y'all messed up.
You know what? I feel like that might kind of be realistic, though. People just being like, never mind, like, let's cut America off. Like, they can do their thing, but we'll keep doing our thing."
Right? Now with Hunger Games, I mean, you said you're Katniss Peta like all the way, right?
Oh, 100%. It's not even a hard choice.
So other guy, oh
Gale.
gosh, Gale is not in there, right? Like
No,
there's no room for Gale in.
I hate Gale so much. Like, I have no patience for people that think Gale and Katniss should end up together. I just part of the reason is because I think Gale and Peeta are a metaphor. The love triangle is actually a metaphor for the larger decision that Katniss faces, like between like the war and peace, basically. Because Gale, and she even mentions it like in Mockingjay in the book, where she's like, I forget exactly how she words it because it's been a few months like since I've reread the books, but she like talks about how like Peeta is like hope and like new life. And if you like pay attention throughout the books, it's like Pete or Gale is like rage and like fire, and he always wants to like bring violence and stuff to the rebellion. And Peeta uses like tact and political savvy and stuff like
Hmm.
that. And he always like brings her peace and stuff like that. And so I think that the love triangle represents like more of the path that Katniss has to choose as the Mockingjay, if that makes sense.
It
So,
does. I'm thinking, while you're talking, it's one of the things that I had mentioned to my wife when we were watching, especially the last movie, because I don't really like the last two movies. I don't, and I have that's the book that I also have a problem with. Of we have gone from Katniss like Hunter
mhm,
barely scraping by in the first book, which again, first book and second book is basically she is still who she is,
yeah,
and then you have her as a propaganda person,
Yeah.
but then she's out there like front lines, like part of the team, like, and I like it's so hard for me to wrap my head around Katniss being a part of like a military group. It it's something that I don't know. It's just hard for me as the reader as a viewer of I don't see Katniss doing that. I don't see like Katniss has not been trained. She doesn't have that experience. Like she's just
I
with
think
these people.
I think that they do a good job of that in the books, more so than the movie, of showing that, like, Katniss has a hard time with that. Like, she doesn't like the training. Like, she throws herself into it kind of as an escape because Pete is there and he hates her. And that's when she starts training, is because she, like, wants to run away, but she can't because she's not trained, and so that's when her and Joanna start going through the training and stuff. And then, when she goes through her final test or whatever, so she can go to her squadron, um, her test is following orders because she knows that she doesn't do that, you know, which would come along with being part of the military.
See, I totally because the thing I haven't read the books in probably 10 years,
Mhm.
maybe. So like I'm going off the movies, which is never a good thing. But
Yeah.
But the other thing in the movie, especially with the last movie, is I know it from the books. I hate that they don't explicitly call out Gail as the one being like the one who had designed like the little gift box drops
Yes.
to like murder people. Like
Yes. No one
like
that
I
if you haven't read the books and you just go watch the movies, you have no idea.
yeah, like I mean there like she questions it like, "Oh, did you do that?" Like but there's not really like a basis for her to be even asking that question because they don't really talk about some of the stuff. Like he's talked about a few random things here and there, but it's never explicitly said.
Mhm.
And then it's never explicitly called out. It just is like glossed over and that's it. And I'm like, are you've got to be kidding me. Like that's like an impactful thing. Like because for the most part, um the Prim is not like really around in any of the movies to really like get that connection, and it's like the last two movies is where she's at, and it's just like okay, now she's dead, let's move
Yeah,
on.
part of my beef with, both the Mockingjay movies is, and this is why I think Catching Fire is the best one out of all of them, is because I feel like Catching Fire is the best book to movie adaptation, is that Mockingjay was split into 2 movies. They had more time to do stuff from the books, and I feel like they didn't take the time with some of the stuff that they should have.
Hmm.
Um, and I still think The Hunger Games, first movie excluded, because I think the first movie is just awful. Um, it's so bad. I'm so glad they switched directors, because I just think Gary Ross did not do a good job. But, they it's just they had time to do more stuff in Mockingjay than they did. It's interesting to me the stuff they chose to focus on. I still think that, especially with the marketing, they focused more heavily on the love triangle aspect than some of the other more important aspects of the series. Like, as much as I love Katniss and Peeta, and I like talk about Everlark, and I know I just tweeted about Everlark today, um, but there's so much more I love about the series, and there's so much more to the series than just Katniss and Peeta ending up together. And, the marketing was so heavily, "Gale, Katniss, Peeta, who will she end up with?" And it's like, no, like, The Hunger Games is about way more than that. Like, Katniss wasn't even thinking about Gale and Peeta, which one will I pick more heavily. She even has a whole paragraph in Mockingjay where she's like, "I don't care about them, I'll be fine by myself."
Right.
Like, I don't know, it just little things that drive me crazy. This is why the books are better.
I had to Google. I didn't know what Everlark was. I was like, I have no clue what this is talking about. let me see what that is, and thankfully Google, showed me the way. I was like, okay, I got you.
Everlock is Katniss and Peeta's ship name for listeners that do not know.
Now, did you read? And because I think it came out last year, or maybe the late 2019. Did you read the prequel with Snow in it?
I put it off because I didn't want to read it because I had beef with it being about snow, but
Hmm.
I had a friend that read it when it first came out, and she convinced me that I needed to read it, and I trust her opinions, especially when it comes to books. And so I asked for it for my birthday, I got it, and I finished reading it a few weeks ago, and it surprised me actually. I liked it more than I thought it would, more than I thought I would. It was really interesting, and it was cool to see all the connections that Suzanne Collins made
Hmm.
between the prequel and the current series. It especially made me want to reread Mockingjay. Was the book that I felt like it had the most parallels with, which was really interesting to me because the prequel takes place like 10 years after the Great War. It talks about it's like the 10th Hunger Games is when the prequel takes place. And so it's interesting to me that there were so many parallels between the last book. But I thought it was really well done. I don't want to say I didn't particularly care for the story because like it was all right. But the fact that Snow was the main character and I hate him made it hard for me to get through. So I don't know. It was good, but the thing that kept me reading was definitely all the connections and stuff that was in there for fans.
Okay. I know that a lot of people were like, I'm not reading this because it's going to focus on Snow, and it's going to be like this. They're going to try to make me like him as a character, and I don't want to like him. He's like bad. I don't want to see like some redemption arc after the fact, essentially. I've not read it, but I've read enough to where I'm like, huh, like I'm trying to like get those little connections, um, of like, okay, this connects to this and this connects to that. But it's definitely on my list of, whenever I get to reading again, I want to read it just to like kind of flesh out the world, because I find that Panem, like the world and the capital and everything, like is something I want more of. And it's like that's one of the things I love about books is like just give me all the lore, like flesh it out.
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, I was one of those people that was like, I'm not going to read this. And it was for the exact reasons that you just said. But she didn't make him sympathetic, I felt like. Maybe that's because I hate him so much I couldn't find him sympathetic. But I felt like she did a lot of things in the book where it was you couldn't find him sympathetic. Um by the end of the book you don't like him. And honestly, it did a lot of really, really good world building, and it made a lot of more things make sense. It made a lot of connections, and it made me I was texting the friend that made me read it, like, throughout the whole thing. I would, like, yell about connections. I'd be like, "That's so cool!" And when I finished the book, I texted her, and I was like, "I want her to write more books. I want more of the Hunger like, Panem, like, the world," like, exactly like you just said, because the world building she did in the book was so well done. Like, Suzanne Collins is just a phenomenal writer, and that was one thing I said when I was texting my friend. I was like, "I shouldn't have doubted her. Like, she's such a good writer. I shouldn't have doubted that it would be a good book." So, I would recommend it at least once.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely like be reading it. I am hopeful. I'd love to see more like more stuff filled in. I'd love to see just like an expansion, or even like before the capital was around, or before, like, to see like how it got to that point, or
Mhm.
where things ended up, like, it seems that there's just so much more that they can do, or that she can do, if given the chance to like get it out there.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I feel like there are more stories that can be told, and I want them told.
I want them told. All right, well, before we wrap up, I know that you had talked about something that kind of got you through 2020 because everybody coped with 2020 differently.
Mhm.
Um, and I know that you had mentioned, I want to make sure that we talk about it just a little bit before we wrap up. Is that you had mentioned like some musicals got you through 2020 and helped you out.
Yes, I call them my comfort musicals because that's really what they were for me. I had 3 different ones that I listened to all the time. One of them is a movie, so I watched it a lot too, but I listened to the soundtrack of these 3 all the time. Um, One is called The Last 5 Years, and it's just so good. It's about a couple and it's basically about their breakup, and it can be kinda confusing to listen to because one of them starts at the end of the relationship, and one of them starts at the beginning of the relationship, and they meet in the middle, and then it keeps going, and so one of them ends at the beginning of the relationship, and the other one ends at the end of the relationship, and it's takes place over 5 years. Another one is called Spring Awakening. It takes place in, like, 1800 Germany. I'm really bad at explaining this one. It has, Leah Michele and Jonathan Groff in it, and I love Jonathan Groff, and I just like the songs from it. They're all really good songs. And then the last one is Hadestown, and that one's newer, and it's about Orpheus and Eurydice, and it tells their
Okay.
tale, and that's probably the one that I was the most obsessed with. That one in the
And
last 5 years, I would say.
now is that the one that's a movie or
Oh, no, the sorry, I should have specified that one. The Last 5 Years is the one that's a movie.
okay? Because
Um,
I've heard I thought Hadestown was getting a movie. Am I mistaken?
I don't think so. If it is, that's news to me, and I haven't heard, and I would be really excited because I love Hadestown. Hadestown was a musical in 2019, I think. Hadestown's the newest musical.
Okay, Hadestown. I figured out is supposed to come to Orlando, and it was like on the list of like, oh, that'd be cool to go see, but that's not happening. So
Yeah. I
yeah,
love Hadestown so much. It's really, really good. But those are just ones that I listen to the soundtracks all the time. Just got me through. So if somebody's listening and they love musicals and they haven't heard any of those, go check them out. And if you want someone to yell about them with, follow me on Twitter and DM me.
that's right. Now before we wrap up, I wanted to just make mention because there was a fandom that we were going to talk about, and we scrapped it. We were like, no, we're not talking about it because in fact, I haven't seen the show in probably since. Oh gosh, I know it got canceled. I don't remember when it got canceled, but I haven't seen it for a while, so I
Mhm.
would have needed a refresher on it. Um, but there's been a lot of bad things that have happened to like outside of the show, which is
Yeah.
Glee. Um,
Mhm.
and I only bring that up because you mentioned Spring Awakening and Leah Michelle, Jonathan Groff, and I'm like, oh yeah, I that's where I heard their names from to begin with before
Yeah.
when they'd gotten into Glee. Um, what a TV show that has had so much happen
Yeah.
to it. I will say, uh, and I guess it's a funny negative is that it gave us Matthew Morrison as the Grinch.
Oh my
And
gosh, that
apparently, like
cursed.
that was like also not good, and people were definitely like, "Why is the Grinch grinding on my screen?" kind of thing. But I didn't watch it because I didn't want to see Matthew Morrison as the Grinch to begin with.
I didn't watch it either. Seeing his picture terrifyingly shock me on my timeline was enough. I didn't need to see anymore.
Oh my goodness. But maybe one day Courtney and I will talk about Glee because I know that like Glee meant a lot to me at certain points of like watching it, but then at the
Mhm.
same time, like I wish they had somebody writing down like what they had previously done so that way they could keep like continuity and storylines like going in the correct direction instead of just making things up week by week.
Yeah. I binged it in April, you know this because you followed me on Twitter, and definitely just So much to unpack there. But it
Oh my
like you
gosh.
said, it means a lot to me, but it's just so much inside the show and outside of the show that had I guess Glee just has a stigma to it now.
And on top of like obviously like the tragic deaths that have happened,
Mhm.
um, like there was a lot of stuff last year where there's a lot of tweets going around, and it was like, oh damn, like y'all
Yeah.
really need to come get some people,
Yeah.
and then even like some of the some other tweets, there was like I love like certain characters, but their representatives in the real world sometimes need to
Oh,
need to
sure.
chill out.
For sure. Yeah. So it's again, it's like it's this thing of where it's like inside the show there's a lot to unpack because not all of it has held up well, and not all of it would have held up well while currently watching. And there's a lot of stuff outside the show too that is just surrounding the show is not good.
Yeah,
So
yeah. All right, Courtney. Well, I mean, you've made mention of it just a few times about this Twitter thing that you and I are both on. But for people that are out there and they've listened and they're like, I need some Broadway musical discussions in my life, or let's talk Hunger Games, or whatever Marvel, especially Tom Holland or Captain America, or the shows that are happening. What are the best places? Obviously, Twitter is the best place. Uh, where can they find you?
Twitter is for sure the best place. I'm on it every day. And you can find me at well, I only have one Twitter account now, and the at is Courtney B 1209. And it won't be a holiday because it'll be April, so my name should be we're using our made up names. That's how you'll know it's me. Little Tom Holland Infinity War quote there.
Yes, yes, indeed. I just want to say, Courtney, one of the things that I love is just the Twitter is like something else. Twitter is its own magical beast of whatever, but it has graciously given this friendship that I have with you, and I love it, and I love getting to talk to you. I love getting to throw uh, animated man-made gifts to you, and we go back and forth on it. I love getting to see what you write, and I just want to say thank you for coming back and doing it again, and having I had a blast tonight.
Oh, I did too. I'm so glad that you asked me to come back, and I love talking to you on Twitter too. You're one of my favorite people I've been able to connect with on there.
Absolutely. So if you are listening, go follow Courtney. I'm watching for her follower count to go up because she needs more people to consume what she's putting out there. So go do it. You won't regret it.
Thank you for listening to Tales from the Fandom. Subscribe to us on iTunes or your podcast app of choice. Follow us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Tales from the Fandom to see photos, links, leave feedback, and check out upcoming guests. If you'd like to be a guest, email David at talesfromthefandom@gmail.com.